My name is Megan, and I'm going to be teaching you how to do the Centerpiece craft kit today. So let's get right to it. I want to show you the supplies that it comes with. So you have your Centerpiece box, and this comes in 3 different colors. For today we're using the Jacko bean. And then you also have foam for your centerpiece. This is dry foam, not wet foam. We have a little, I think it's a 1 ounce bushel of baby's breath. We have some mossy twig stuff. And then we have the flower dye, which you chose yourself. And we have a scent, 2 glue sticks, just in case. Bamboo stems that have a sharp point on the end. And then a dozen flowers. So, let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do the night before you want to do your craft kit is you need to dye your flowers. These have to dry overnight. You can push them through the microwave, which will speed up the drying time substantially, but it does make them a little bit brittle. But if you're in a hurry, you need it for a gift tomorrow or tonight, you can put them in the microwave. If I were doing this at home, I would put this in the microwave so it gives it a more intense color, but hot water is not necessary. Usually if you have a bowl this small, a half of a tube will do, but if you want your flowers darker, you can always go darker. So you're gonna dump all of your flowers and then you're gonna let it dry overnight until they are all the way dry. Once your flowers are dried, you are going to put stems on them before you start doing anything else. You just wanna put a little bit of glue. Push it through the back about a half of an inch. Okay, and when I do it, I like to squeeze the flower so I don't damage it. You don't want to press on the flower like that because you can ruin the top of it. So I squeeze from the sides and then press in. Alright, so your foam should fit in your box pretty easily. If it doesn't, you can just take just a regular butter knife and trim off the sides until it fits in there. You don't want it to be tight, but you don't want it to be loose. And so I always put a couple dabs of glue on the bottom of my foam and then push it in there. Just make sure it's centered in the box. Okay, so next we're going to cover up the foam with our little bit of straw moss stuff. So the easiest way to do this, it's very messy, is you're going to just put glue directly onto the foam. And just work a section at a time, otherwise your glue is going to dry before you get there. It doesn't need to cover the foam completely. It's okay if you can see some of the green. The flowers and the baby's breath will cover most of it. Alright, so now we don't want this stuff falling out of your centerpiece, so we're going to trim everything up so it's nice and tight to the foam. I wouldn't let anything poke out more than an inch because you'll probably end up seeing it when the final product's done. Okay, so from here you want to get your if you have wire cutters, this makes your job way easier, but the kit did not come with wire cutters, so I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, which is, I could try it with scissors, but I don't want to ruin my scissors, so I'm just going to break the stem. Okay, so just break it off till it's about, I don't know, 3 inches or so. And then you're just going to start poking these in. You want to make sure that they're done at random. So I like to start in a random spot. If you start in the middle, sometimes it sets the tone for too much symmetry. So keep breaking these, make sure you glue them in so they don't fall out. And when I do my centerpieces, I like my flowers to face all different ways. So when you put them in, don't just put them in straight up and down and straight sideways. I kind of like variations in the direction that they're facing. It makes for a better finished product that looks a little bit more wild and natural. It's like this one, you would normally probably have it facing out, but we're gonna keep it interesting. If it's giving you too much trouble, don't force it, because chances are it's running into another stick, and if you force it, you're gonna make the stick come shooting up through the flower. So if it feels too forced, pull it out and start over. Just find a little bit of a different direction to poke that in there. Move this guy over just a little bit. Okay, so I like to do half of it first. So I have this half done. I'm gonna leave this half for the second part, and you'll see why in just a second. So you're gonna grab your baby's breath, and just take little pieces at a time. And you want your pieces to be even, so kind of drop everything down. Make sure your baby's breath is all the same height. Trim off a little excess. Okay, so this is why I leave the back empty, because I like to shove it through those holes and then pull from the back. And I like to clearly be able to see what I'm pulling on so I don't damage the flowers. So you just go ahead and pull on them until it looks like you want it to look. This one's kind of poking out, so I could find where it is to pull, or I can just clip that off. Now it's gonna be really tempting just to kind of put that in there like that, but the baby's breath blossoms forward. So you want those blossoms to point forward because you want them taking up as much space as possible. So try to put them in forward if you can help it, so that those blossoms face outward. And then just make sure from the back you're cutting these stems as short as possible so that you can't see them. Okay, so when you're satisfied with your baby breath placement and everything, just make sure that everything's in place. Kind of tug on everything, make sure it's not coming out. And then my favorite part is applying the scent. And you just want to put the scent deep in there, or even from the back of the flower if you can. Sometimes the oil will make the dye bleed a little bit, so I try to put it in there as best as possible. And this scent is gonna last anywhere from 3 months to a year, just depending on how much you put on it. So if you have somebody who's really sensitive, I wouldn't put very much, but if you want it to make the house smell beautiful, I would go ahead and load it on. So, this craft kit was brought to you by Sola Flowers. My name is Megan Bowman, and this is my centerpiece.